like those Marconi scientists that all died. As I said, I was there during, it was the MOD, but they were working on something really close with Marconi. And that's why the department that I worked at was all Marconi stuff and MOD between both of them. And we used to work, we had some designers and graphic designers and a big room downstairs, computer room, all high-tech equipment. You know, there was one machine that was worth £1 million, cost £1 million. But it could only do one thing, some sort of conversion for slides, presentations. And after Windows 95, that was obsolete, £1 million machine. It was quite new. But yeah, those Marconi scientists, we were aware that they were very suspicious deaths, and I know, all I can say is they were, what can I say without being arrested? They were working on something that involved some medical companies, pharmaceutical companies, SmithKline Beecham, and what's the other one? Glaxo. But they all, see, the thing is with SmithKline's and Beecham and Glaxo, they joined forces and merged and joined and broken up so many times, but they could be one company now, I don't know. SmithKline, Glaxo, I'm not sure. And there were some suspicious illnesses among some of the staff. So the Royal Free Hospital was brought in to manage. There's a lot of communications and a lot of work with them to do with the same thing. I know that much. So it looks like there was pharmaceuticals involved. And as I said, the government will get rid of anybody who can reveal anything that they don't want revealing. You know, they get people, this is a tactic that a lot of the third world countries use, and Middle East, you know, they get people working and you do your 3 years stretch or whatever they make you do, but then after that they say, the government says, oh no, we need you for a bit longer, stay another 2 years, you stay another 2 years, and then once that happens, they don't let you go. It's like, well, you can't go now, you know too much, we don't want you to go, you need to work for us now. And if you don't, they kill you. So this is how you become an agent or working for the government without meaning to in other countries, Syria especially, I'm talking about. I know quite a few people that happened to, quite a few. Husbands' friends, ex-husbands' friends and family friends of theirs, happened to a lot of them. When they left the army, they did the 3 years military service, but you either go on the front line or you study something. If you study something, it has to be army related, engineering or tanks or something, machinery or something like that, you know, ammunitions or something that you can use in the army. So some of them have to go outside to do courses. So we used to get a few of them in London visiting us that were here, but they have to go back. They didn't have a choice because the Syrian government has their family's assets, and if they don't go back, they keep everything and probably kill the family. But this is what happened to them when I went back to Syria again and met up with them over there, asked them how did it go and, you know, their journey back and what was going on in their lives and the army and all that. This is what they told me. He did his 3 years. They made him do work 2 years because they paid for his studies for 3 years. So we need 2 years of work out of you now. Then he was there 5 years altogether in the army. And then they said, the things you've been working on are too top secret. We can't let you go. You're working for us now. That's it. He's in the government. Can't get out. And he was so nervous. He was one of the most nervous people I've met over there. And I knew him. He lived in London, in England, or Manchester. We used to go weekends and he used to come down to London a lot when he was studying here. And he wouldn't talk outside except inside the house. He kept saying, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk. Don't. You know, there's secret police everywhere. So he came around to our house. It was safe in his house. I went round to see him as well. but he would not talk anywhere else in the restaurant. Anyway, shh, don't speak. Then he started, when we got home, he started telling me everything the Syrian army were doing. Oh, unbelievable. I wish I had my cameras then recorded it. I wasn't doing blogs or anything in those days. Should have recorded some of that stuff, I tell you. Just getting back to the MOD bit, I tend to stray off point. Went on to Syria there. With the MOD, I mean, we knew the deaths were happening. I mean, I was really in not conspiracies as such, but what the government were doing, because it was, I was in the Arab world, and there was a lot going on with the wars on the verge of, Saddam and all that. So I was heavily involved because my sister-in-law worked at the Kuwait embassy. I knew a lot of what was going on, so I was up to the minute on that. And these scientists were dying. So I would see a little thing in the paper, tiny little 2-paragraph on page 5 or 6 or something like that, and it'd say so-and-so died. He was a scientist working for MARCONI or the MOD or whatever, and died in mysterious circumstances. And I would say, look, there's another one. And so we were aware that there were quite a few gathering. Every time I'd see one, there was like, another one. So that it was very suspicious. I mean, it is suspicious to everybody because it is something weird about it. Now, in my opinion, people who know too much get killed. That's probably, that's why I went into the Syrian thing. People who know too much obviously get killed when whoever paid them to work on a certain thing never wants anything revealed about who or what or why, anything about this secret thing they've been working on. So they normally kill them. So we just sussed out in the office that it looked like it was something to do with pharmaceuticals. We were thinking germ warfare at the time, something like that. They were working on something like that. Now, the stuff we used to get, how I used to get the stuff in my office was, we were accounts, as I said, and the designers would design the logos, print things. We actually did the manuals for the... we did the training manuals for the secret agents, okay? And we would design them, and that machine was to convert things into slides. We also did slides for the training people that they took on for the training classes for the agents. All those were done in my department. So what would come up to me was these big giant envelopes I ate through, huge things, called a job bag, and everything would be put in there to do with that particular job that was being done, the designer's name, the details, all the paperwork, photocopies, all the communication from companies, from things like this. Anything related to the job would go in this bag, and it would all come up to me. And I would work out the pricing, things like that, go inside the bag, get the bills, work out the price, do the invoice, and then it would be done to the other departments. All stuff like that. But because they banned me from having the safe in my office, first of all, I thought, well, what did they not want me to say? I did start being nosy because of that. I never was before, so I started looking in the job bags to see what different jobs were being done and what was being done. And I saw quite a lot. So, but yeah, it was just a general feel. Now, this is mainly for researchers. I haven't researched the MARCONI this, but I know there are people out there. So if they're working on something, this may be a tip. The pharmaceutical companies were involved and the Royal Free Hospital were involved. They studied diseases. I've just looked it up now to see what part they play. Are they a government-run thing or what? Looks like they are. I don't know much about the Royal Free Hospital. But it looks like, yeah, they study diseases and things like that. So I know they're working on some, underwater communications and different things like that as well. But I know at the time, around the same time, we got new computer systems, everything was changed. And I know people think, we're very old and the MOD must be years in advance. No, they weren't really. We have the same stuff as everybody else, same office equipment, except for the imaging and those sort of things. They would invest in really, really high-tech stuff for specific uses, but there wasn't anything outrageous that wouldn't be available to other people with money on the market. It wasn't anything like supernatural or 30 years ahead of its time. The internet was broadband when people were still using dial-up. I mean, we had that installed quite early before anybody. Like, continuous, you could just, instead of blocking up your line, you had a broadband that didn't block the line up, and you could connect to it all day and it wouldn't run up your bill. And so, yeah, we had that first before anybody. That's all I remember, really. But other than that, no, the equipment was fairly standard for its day. We upgraded to Windows 95 and everything changed in the departments, and everyone had to be trained, and nightmare for other people. God, some people just can't learn. They just found it impossible, but things like that came natural to me, really. So I ended up having to train quite a lot of people. Oh, nightmare. So, but I think pharmaceuticals played a heavy part, definitely. It's all they were working on, and working close with all the pharmaceutical companies. GEC was there as well. I remember them. We saw a few notes from them and bits of paperwork. So that's all I know at the moment about Marconi. If I think of any more, I'm still in touch with a couple of people. Well, not really in touch. I know where they are on their Facebook. Just haven't added anybody. But they're still around, yeah, doing the same graphics and stuff that we were doing years ago. And I often thought of contacting them and asking them, well, what do you know and what I know? Let's put it together, because he saw things as well. And you would only see what was relevant to your department. Like, he would be working on something, but nobody else would see it, and he would finish it all and send the paperwork to me. So it wouldn't mean anything really to anybody else. But I know they did a lot of drawings, technical drawings of equipment for the training manuals and for the courses. They would use the designs up on a screen, on a projector screen for the staff. And it was a lot of submarines, I remember, a lot to do with underwater stuff. And Miles Johnson spreads it around that it was black goo. All this black goo. No mention of black goo anywhere. Absolutely not. No, not even anything resembling black goo, except a little dog poo outside in the garden. No, not black goo. I don't believe that. That never happened. So, yeah, if I remember anything else.